Yeah, absolutely. And I think that one way to begin to reframe some of these things in your head is to start thinking about the difference between like what I just call fast reward versus slow reward. Some people will say, oh, one is the dopaminergic system and one is serotonergic, which isn't exactly correct, but fast reward versus slow reward. What I mean by that is that, basically trading something off currently for something in the future. But it's not necessarily as simple as that either, because there's a certain feeling of satisfaction that you get after a day of work. It doesn't feel like that sharp acute reward that you get from, I don't know, eating something sugary or taking drugs or something along those lines. It's not that fast hit that you get that's then gone. It's this more, you know slow basal drip of satisfaction. Like, yeah, you know what, I did something that was useful there. That was a good day's work. I did myself proud there. Similarly, like if you've ever been to like a family event, or it's Christmas Day or something like that, where it's kind of a big day and you're spending time with your family and you're like, do you know what, this is nice. There's something nice about this. My heart did a little flutter. It's like there's a feeling there that's just a bit more than that kind of short-term acute reward that you get. And I call that the kind of slow reward that you're looking for over time. And that's generally, I think, what your decision should be made in relation to you. What makes you feel that bit more whole, that sense of happiness or reward that's a bit more sustainable in the long term, because that's ultimately what you're looking for, to up your kind of average level of satisfaction with your life, rather than just the peaks that you get through partying or something along those lines. That stuff is fine, but on average, you're looking for that slow reward. And I think that can help you to just reconceptualize your life a little bit. At least that helps me. Because when I think about that, I'm like, right, actually, those slow rewards tend to come from things like, you know, going home and spending time with my family, or, spending time with my girlfriend. Or when I think about having kids, like that's like the ultimate thing for me. That's the thing that matters more than anything else in my life, is like, I want kids. And that I know is going to produce a lot of that slow reward. It's something that over time is going to make my life better, I hope. And none of those peaks or none of at no kind of average level is that going to be greater than the peak reward I could get if I don't know, went out partying and took loads of cocaine or something. Clearly that's something that's more rewarding in the short term. Or
Have you
spending a
tried?
lot. No, I haven't, but I'd say it probably would be quite the spike. Or spending all your money on something, or just going drinking all day with friends at a pool or something. Like cool, yeah, rewarding, has its place, but over the long term, what's going to give you that slow reward? And I think when you're making decisions about your life, I think that's really what can start to just allow you to make better decisions.
Yeah, it's like that kind of full reward. Like you
Yeah.
feel full after it. You're like, I feel like that it has contributed to building something,
Yeah.
right? Versus that emptiness where you're just like, yeah, that was cool, that was nice, that was enjoyable, but there's nothing,
It's
it's
almost
just,
like it's almost like instead of getting the crash after, or some degree of sense of guilt, you actually, it's almost like it potentiates more of that. It
mm,
potentiates you actually living better going forward, because you're like, you know what, that actually reminded me of why I live the way I live, and that, these people actually mean a lot to me. So I'm going to make a bit more effort now in future to do more of this type of stuff. So that is a kind of a potentiating effect, rather than a bit of a regressive effect where, if you go out drinking alcohol and you drinking all day, the next day, how do you feel? You feel crap. And the only way that you could potentially overcome that would be to go drinking again and then feel even worse. So it's regressive in a sense. There's no way that you can build on that unless you just go along the hierarchy of drugs, or the what do they call it, the hedonic treadmill, as people say, go from buying €100 shoes to 200 to 300 to 400, etc. So it's regressive in its effects, rather than potentiating a better life long term.